Hello, this is Show-ei-mon. On my clothing alteration channel, I show every step of the process. I shot the video from the actual worker's point of view to make it easier to see the hands at work. For those of you aiming to become professionals, please use my videos as training material. Today, we'll be replacing the zipper on a pair of slacks or dress pants. Here is the before and after. To make it easier to see, I'll use a zipper with a different color. I've also changed the thread color. This is a beginner level alteration, so once you get used to it, you should be able to do it in about 30 minutes. Alright, let's get started. First, remove the original zipper. But before removing it, check whether the zipper is attached neatly in the first place. The fly area in particular is sometimes crooked. In that case, you'll need to correct it and then attach it so the zipper sits in the proper position, so be sure to check. Mark along the zipper. At this point, the position of the bottom zipper end is important. Be sure to mark it. Do the same on the other side. Then undo the stitches. Be careful not to unsew too much, especially the part that's sewn to the waistband. If you unsew too much, it will be harder to insert it in the sewing machine later on. If it's difficult to insert into the sewing machine, it will take extra time. On top of that, you'll end up sewing more and damaging the fabric. So, try as much as possible to unsew only the zipper area. Be careful when you unsew the bar tacks. They are stitched very firmly, so if you force them, the fabric will tear. There are quite a lot of bar tacks. Being able to unsew the bar tacks quickly is one of the keys to finishing swiftly. About half of the time spent on this zipper replacement is taken up by unsewing. Simply put, the faster you unsew, the faster you finish. Those who master unsewing master clothing alterations. Now the zipper has been removed. If you leave the loose thread bits here, they become harder to remove later on. So remove them now. It should look like this. From here, I will use a different colored zipper, so you can see the difference. I'll also change the thread color. Next, adjust the length of the zipper. It may be common to cut off the top part, but this time, we'll cut the bottom part. If you cut the top off, the slider will come off unless you attach a stopper. For slacks where the bottom stop is almost invisible, and the zipper itself is not made of metal, it is better to cut it from the bottom. Mark the position of the original stop. This is where we will cut it. Stitch several times at the new stop position with a machine. As this zipper is thin and soft, I can sew it with the machine. But if the elements are hard, you can do this by hand sewing. Cut along the marked line. It should look like this. Now let's sew it on. Leave the zipper open. Start by aligning it with the lower mark. First, match the fly extension and the zipper. Align it with the zipper end mark you made at the beginning. Also align it with the vertical mark. Secure the edge with an edge stitch. Check that the position of the upper zipper end matches the original position. Looks good. This mark shows where it is sewn to the waistband. Sew the waistband and the body back together, as you unsewn them previously. It's hard to sew as it is, so I'll unsew a little more. Use the mark you made earlier as a guide when sewing it back. The upper part is now secured. Sew the back side of the waistband. Layer the body, zipper, and fly extension, and sew them together. Be careful not to sew while the fabric is scrunched. Also be careful not to catch the lower fabric by mistake. It should look like this. And like this on the inside. One side is now sewn. Next, use the finished side as a reference to sew the other side. Fix it in the position where the fabric lies flat naturally. In theory, if you follow the original stitch marks, you should get a neat result. But sometimes the original stitching may not be that neat, so always check before you sew. Align it to the zipper end mark you made at the beginning. If everything has gone smoothly up to this point, the marks should align almost properly. Check once more that the fabric is sitting naturally. If the marks have faded, redraw them. Now sew the other side. Sew the edge with an edge stitch. Sew so that it aligns with the vertical marks as well. Check the marks every time. If you are not careful, you may sew it crookedly. It should look like this. Sew again, this time 3 to 5 millimeters next to the line you just stitched. You may want to switch to a narrow presser foot or a one-sided presser foot, depending on the thickness of the zipper. This time the zipper is thin, so I'll keep using this one. Now sew it back to the waistband. Because there is a buttonhole, you can't turn the whole thing completely inside out. If you have unsewn too much here, you won't be able to insert it in the machine at all. If you can't insert it, finish it by hand sewing. It looks like I can manage it just right. Be careful not to sew through the plastic stop. If you force the machine to sew a hard-to-reach area, you may sew it while the fabric is scrunched underneath. So, always check that the fabric underneath is not folded. It looks okay. Now sew the inside. Check the bottom part as well. Lastly, sew the fly and the body together. Start stitching from the bottom. Keep the fly extension flipped out of the way. Do not sew it together yet. We'll top stitch the fly, but start with a few millimeters away from the edge. At this point, be careful not to let the fly underneath become distorted. If the original needle marks are still visible, stitch right over them. If they've disappeared, draw a line with a tailor's chalk and sew along that. It should look like this. The fly extension is not sewn yet. Then, layer the fly extension on top and add a bar tack. If you don't have a sewing machine that can sew bar tacks, you can just go back and forth a few times. Finally, restitch along the original seams. And we're done. Now let's take a look at the finished result. Check that the zipper can't be seen from the outside. And that the height of the zipper ends matches. This is what it looks like when you open it. And here is the inside. So that's how to replace the zipper on a pair of slacks. Since it only uses a sewing machine, this is an alteration you can do at home. Please give it a try. Thank you for watching until the end. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. This was Show-ei-mon.